Hello, this is Santa here, and welcome back to Model Kit Monday. Today we're doing something a little different. I'm doing some remodeling in my back room where I usually build Gunpla, which means nothing new is built, and I don't have any space to record a review, so here we are. This is just a video I came up with simply because I couldn't really figure out how to get a review done because of what's going on back there, so we're here in this very comics-themed room, so it doesn't match the setting at all, I'm sorry. But today I want to talk about scale. Scale for Gunpla, because that is a hugely debated topic. And I just kind of wanted to weigh in on that. And you can kind of figure out most of this from watching my videos, but this will give you a nice recap of where I sit with scale. So let's talk about Gunpla. So in Gunpla, there are basically, relatively, just 3 scales. 1 to 1/44th, 1 to 100, and 1/60th. So those are the 3 main scales. There's also SD kits, which are no scale. They're just SD. They fit into the build divers, or the build divers, build fighters, Gunpla Builders Beginning G kind of world as 1 to 1/44th, but they are basically no scale. And then there's also some other stuff like mega size that's like 1/30th or 1/10th, and there's like 1 to 1 scale Haro or whatever. But anyways, the point is that those are the 3 main scales. 1 to 1/44th, 1 to 100, and 1 to 1/60th. So the thing is that there's a very few amount of people that actually collect 1 to 1 or 1 to 60th, 1/60th scale. That is your perfect grades, your mega size. It's like those are like the really expensive kits. Like perfect grade Exia with the light kit was like $400 or something nuts like that. And so they're really intense model kits. They have a ton of parts. They're massive. Like these things are like huge. And I would totally love to learn a perfect grade, but I have to really love the mobile suit it is to warrant a perfect grade. I would probably only buy a perfect grade if it was the Shining Gundam, being perfectly honest. That or maybe the Turn A. As much as I love the Exia, I didn't really want to go for perfect grade Exia. So that comes down to that. And really, it's really bright in here. Okay, anyways, so perfect grade, I think that there's people that love them, but I don't know anybody that actively collects perfect grade only, but I'm sure there are people out there, and they only have to make a Gunpla purchase every 5 to 6 months. So, you know, it works out. Now, the main scales that I see a lot of debate about is 1 to 100 and 1 to 1/44th. Those are the 2 scales that end up being the most debated because it's the difference between slightly large and slightly small. There's not really a mid-ground there. Kind of Robot Damachi's at mid-ground. But that is the main scale debate. So what's in the 1 to 100? 1 to 100 includes mostly master grades. Also includes RE100, which is apparently a really great line. There's also full mechanics, which was basically for Iron Blooded Orphans only. And then there's a bunch of no-grade 1 to 100 kits from like 00 and Age and way back when. And there's high-grade 1 to 100s, which were used during Wing and G, and I think maybe X. So maybe Victory, maybe not Victory. But those are kind of like your 1 to 100 scales. I don't collect 1 to 100. I don't have a single 1 to 100 scale kit. Turn X is incredibly tempting. Double Zeta Verka is incredibly tempting. But I haven't bit the bullet on it. Now, 1 to 100 kits are usually more expensive, but they are highly detailed. Inner frames, more parts, kind of works out. And if you like that more detailed approach, 1 to 100 I feel like is going to be kind of that area. The problem with 1 to 100 is because it's a larger scale and they're more expensive, there's less kits. It's more, here's your main Gundams, less, here's your random grunt mobile suit. So you kind of get this broad spectrum of, here's a lot of like the very important main character kind of stuff. RE100 goes a little bit more experimental, but for the most part, it's main Gundam stuff. And there's stuff like the G-Self, the Barbatos Lupus, Lopus Rex, etc. don't even have a master grade. They just have 1 to 100. I don't think the G-Self has a 1 to 100 period, but the Barbatoses had the full mechanics. So you kind of have something to fill in. But in terms of master grade, there's no master grade G-Self. That's probably why I won a poll recently, but there's no guarantee that'll actually happen. So you kind of get some more variety in 1 to 1/44th, and that is where I kind of sit. I think that 1 to 100 is great if you only want like main character stuff and you just kind of want the main Gundams. You will get a good collection from that. But if you're wanting more variety, I think 1 to 1/44 is the place to go. Yes, they're on the small side. They're only that big. Plus side, I can fit a lot more of these in a display than I could 1 to 100s. And on the other side is that there's a lot more variety, a lot more grunt suits, a lot more common mobile suits. You know, pretty much every main Gundam's been made. Every main series Gundam is made in 1 to 1/44. There's some variation in types of kits, which we'll get into in a minute. There's price, which is a lot cheaper. Sometimes they're not as detailed, though, and there's a lot more paintwork that has to be done, and you kind of lack some of those things. But then at the same time, you also get in-scaled, you know, Psycho Gundam, Psycho GM is also a thing, Dendrobrium, and Neo Zeon, which you never see in 1 to 100 because those things would be like really massive. Like the Neo Zeon 1 to 1/44 is like this massive, like several foot tall thing, and the Dendrobrium is just like this huge ship. You would never see that in Master Grade because it would be literally too big for anyone's like, I don't even know how you describe it, but it'd be really big. So there is that debate that always wages on. I mean, there is a 1 to 100 base jabber coming out, but it's like after a whole lot of 1 to 1/44 came out. So I think that if you want more variety, you kind of go with 1 to 1/44 and kind of take the hit on detail and such. Now, going over 1 to 1/44 kits, there's several types. First of all, high grades. High grade Universal Century started in the early 2000s, and ever since then, high grades have been specifically 1 to 1/44 scale. There hasn't been any 1 to 100 high grades I know of since HGUC started. This is the Revive First Gundam, also known as the RX-78-2. This is a fantastic kit, and you know, you kind of get like, you get a good articulation, and sometimes more with master grades. But overall, you get like a lot of parts. Now, there's some details that you know have to fill in, and I painted some stuff and added some panel lines. But you know, overall, I think this looks really good. You know, there's some things that master grades can do because they have interframes, like the master grade full armor Gundam from Thunderbolt. You can remove all the armor. High grade, you can't. So there is some style to that. There's also no grades. This is a no grade. This is a very good no grade. This is a no grade. This is the silver, the mobile sumo silver type from Turn A Gundam. And as you can see, that even though this is like an older kit from like '99, this is one from like 2015 or whatever, they fit in the same scale. Like those are properly scaled. So they work there. And then, you know, there's some older high grades that are not HGUC, and then there's some spin-offs and all that. But basically, high grades since the 2000s have been 1 to 1/44. And then there's a thing that kind of like, it scratches my itch for detail and accessories where it doesn't exist elsewhere, and that's real grades. Real grades are kind of like the perfect Gunpla for me because it has the inner frame of the master grade, the size of the high grade, the parts count of a perfect grade, and it's all wrapped into one to make the real grade. I love real grades. Like, this is just a GP01 Zephyranthus Gundam, not even full burner. But you can kind of see that there's just a lot of detail that exists from panels on top of panels. And like there's variations in the white color plastic, so it gives it a lot of extra detail. And I really love this kit, and I really love real grades in general. Like, this thing has a core fighter that can come through the chest. Like, you can split it apart and everything. And it's on the small scale, it's got an inner frame. Real grades get kind of expensive, and there are some real grades that are total misfires. Like the Zeta is, I say apparently terrible because I've looked at reviews and pictures, not turn out well. And then the Sinanju I love that thing because it's the most beautiful kit. Honestly, I think it's more beautiful than the Master Grade. Completely non-functional because it literally uses the same inner frame as this guy, and the Sinanju is a lot bigger and has a lot more armor. I'm hoping the frame for the real grade Sazabi coming up does not use the same as the one for the Sinanju, because that would be a major problem. So anyways, what's the point I'm getting at? I like 1 to 1/44. People like 1 to 100. Some people like 1 to 1/60th. Whatever your goal is in collecting, if you want more variety in mobile suits, then you go for the 1 to 1/44. If you want more detailed main mobile suits, go for the 1 to 100. It's basically where you're at. If you really want just main Gundams only, 1 to 60th is your jam. There are some older 1/60th scaled kits too. They're not all perfect grades. I know there's a Shining Gundam and a Burning Gundam, one for G Gundam, God Gundam, pick a name. But you know, you got those options. But I kind of stick to this because you know I got like the cheap, affordable 1,200 yen kit and the more expensive like 2,800 yen kit. But they're in the same scale together, so I can get my kind of complexity here and you know simplicity and affordability here, and I can mix them together and kind of make the best of both worlds. And really, that's what I'm looking for. So, anyways, I want to know what you think. What's your preferred scale of Gunpla? Most likely, if you're watching this channel, it's probably 1 to 144 since that's all I review. But yeah, I might pick up a master grade someday. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyways, that does it for this week on MacLeod Monday. Hopefully by next week I will have reviews good to go. We shall see. I need to clean a lot of stuff. So, that's it. Till next time, this is Santa saying goodbye.